So tonight is going to be a very good informational class. What I want to do is try to do things a little bit different from what I had been doing. So let me try and broadcast this, and then we're going to go into what some of the changes and what this is all about. What I wanted to do with resolution, right? I have been working on trying to get some things to a point where you guys can understand it more, right? To kind of start backwards, right? So when we got to resolution, what happened with resolution with me, to be honest, is that I took the standpoint. I started out with like a 16-week course. It was like 14 weeks, 4 months or so, to finish the course. Some people were having a problem with it being so many weeks, and so I continued to try to compress and compress, but not eliminate any of the information. So as I compressed the class down, it came to where it was just a lot of information stuck on you guys so fast. And so what I wanted to do is just kind of break down and come back to the basics of resolution and break down each intricate part of it, from the marketing to the sales, where your client comes from, how to sell, right? So when you're talking to these clients, what are you going to say? How do you say those things? What things are you listening to with your client? What things trigger them? What things help you solidify the sale? So what kind of things help you solidify that sale with those clients? So those are the kind of things I want to go into with you guys as well. Communicating with the IRS, right? So we in my normal classes, we spend so much time on the nuts and the potatoes of resolution. We really spend time on offering compromise, learning that program, learning the strategies, learning how to do the compliance checks, learning how to read the compliance check, doing the financial statements, understanding the numbers of the financial statement. And that's so much information. So even though the classes are 6 to 8 weeks anyways, it's still very hard to compress all of that. So I want to really start backing up and taking my time. And I also want to start adding in on the end of my program where you guys will be working. So we are trying to get to a point where we can get pro bono clients, right? Or either low paying clients where you guys can do the work. Because I think that is going to be a part of my training moving forward. What I am noticing is that a lot of people are taking the training, but if you don't implement it right away, you're going to lose it. So you have to actually implement it, and the learning that comes in with the doing, right? So you can hear me say it all day, but if you don't implement it, it doesn't start to really resonate, right? Because there is no cookie cutter for resolution. With resolution, each situation can change depending on the client, right? The programs are the same, right? So those programs don't change, but you have to know intricately which program to use for which client and when to do that, right? So you may say that my client is an installment agreement and I'm going to put them on an installment agreement, but is that the right thing for the client, right? Is it the right time for you to do it, right? It may not be the right moment for you to place that client on a payment plan, right? So that might not be it. So we're going to spend some time kind of really breaking down resolution and not moving so fast. So this upcoming course is not going to be a course. It's going to be slam packed with information. It's going to kind of take a little bit more time, giving some more scenarios, working on some more assignments together. Instead of just offering compromise, learn offering compromise, we do an offering compromise together, and then we write two installment agreements. We do an installment agreement together. Then we write to CDPs and, stopping levies and liens. And so we're right on to the next thing each time, instead of letting each one of those things marinate. So, I want to change up those things because I really care about you all learning, right? That's the whole part of it. So we're going to get right into it. Of course, my name is LaShonda Hudson with Alleviation Tax Debt Professionals. I have been in resolution for a period of over 19 years now. I started with resolution firms for my first 5 years in resolution before I started my own firm. Working for a resolution firm, they taught me, we went through a 21-day training program before you was actually put on the floor to actually work. So throughout that time, I was able to see how a resolution business ran. I was able to see, of course, learn all the different programs, the different things that you can do with resolution. I was able to learn, how the business was structured. I was able to learn the different players in the resolution business, and how, all different players played an important part of it. So a lot of things that I'm teaching you guys is from the inside of a resolution firm. So a lot of times I will say to you all that, and I truly believe this in my heart of hearts, I don't think that you can teach someone how to do resolution if you have not worked in a resolution firm. That's something that I hold dear to, right? Because how do you teach a business if you don't know how to keep the case management notes, right? How to manage the clientele, right? How do you even do that, right? So you can know how to fill out an application and submit an application, but if you don't know the intricate parts of how to structure your clients, how to structure your day-to-day work, how to client case, how to structure that client's case, right? How to even create a savings plan for that client, then you're not doing resolution, right? You're just filling out applications. So that's what I wanted to get more into teaching you guys. And that's what you learn over here as well. So we're going to just jump right into it and kind of break it down, but also give you guys some very good information at the same time. Okay. So the first thing is, what is tax resolution? So you'll see a lot of different definitions of what tax resolution is, and this is my definition of it. My definition of tax resolution is the process of using the Internal Revenue Service programs along with strategies to address and resolve tax debt issues for individual and business owners. Right. So for your individual taxpayers and your business taxpayers, you have to create a strategy, right? It's about utilizing the programs that the Internal Revenue Service has. There's no magic hat here. And I say that all the time. There's no trick. And I tell my clients that, because a lot of clients will come to me and they think they're getting the hookup, right? There's no hookup here, boo. Right? There's no hookup here. What I'm utilizing is a strategic way to utilize the programs that the IRS already have in place to create a saving strategy for you, right? And so you look at those different things to create those strategies for the client. It's not just about getting the client and putting them on a payment plan, because I see that a whole lot, right? So you want to make sure that you're getting down to really understanding the programs, the different programs, and then also the strategies with it. Okay, when to move on certain things. Okay, what is a tax resolution specialist? Okay, so to me, this is again LaShonda Hudson's definition, because I think there's not enough information out here that gives people the intricate information that they need to give direct definitions of what is really going on with resolution. Right, you can see all these textbook definitions when you look on Google and all these other places, all these other things as to what resolution is. And I just think it's different. And I think a resolution specialist is different than what most people will think, right? So LaShonda's definition, and along with what's right, is a tax resolution specialist is someone who learns the intricate parts of tax debt issues and IRS programs and implements saving strategies to resolve their clients' issues with the IRS or problems with the IRS, right? I think that it gets to the point where it's getting title-ish, right? I just think that even though, right, people will say who has the authority to do resolution, right? We're so stuck on who has the authority and who's actually a resolution specialist, right? Because you can have a CPA who has the authority to do resolution. But when I think of a CPA, I think of somebody who is like a bookkeeper for, maybe smaller businesses or personal people. You can have an accountant, right, who's licensed and can be authorized to do resolution. But when I think of an accountant, that is someone that I see in a business who normally, handles accounts, ingoing and output of funding for large firms. However, that's how I see accounting. And as well as, a tax professional, that's someone alone in this financial industry as well, under this financial umbrella. But the tax professionals is someone who is skilled and trained in doing preparing taxes and utilizing tax laws to save their clients money as well. And then you have your enrolled agent, who I think is also a very skilled person, knowledgeable person, and also the highest, right? They are the highest representation for tax prep in the tax prep industry, right? In tax resolution, that is not the same, right? In tax resolution, which is another umbrella up under this financial industry, tax resolution is someone who solely resolves tax debt issues for their client. And that can also include other services, right? But they're also someone who's trained in this particular area in tax resolution, not I got my CPA, but I'm going to do resolution too, right? Right. So, and you have no training in that particular place, right? So I think a resolution specialist, someone who has learned the intricate parts of tax debt issues, meaning looked at different clients' tax debt issues, many different tax debt issues, right? Not just one kind, or I put somebody on a payment plan one time, I got one offer accepted, right? That doesn't make you a resolution specialist. This is someone who has dealt with different parts and different types of tax debt issues, and someone who also understands all of the different programs that the Internal Revenue Service has and knows how and when to implement certain programs that will save their client money in the end. Okay. And so that's important. So what I want to say, like an example of in savings, right? So what I want to show you guys is when I talk about savings and strategy, right? I can show you 1,000 different things in this one that I know that some of the other people would do with this particular case, right? There's a lot of things here that people would overlook. And this is when I say there's a difference between a tax resolution specialist and somebody who does that, just submits applications. Okay. This is an example of what we call a compliance check, right? So if you've never seen one of these, this is basically one of the first steps that you're going to do with every client, right? This is also a step that's missed by a lot of resolution people, right, in the industry. I talked to several business owners, right, in a day's time. That's all I do in a day's time is talk to business owners about resolution, and help them with their cases. So I talked to several business owners who don't know about this whole process, who don't do this process, never seen it, never done it, anything, but they're doing resolution. And some of them will say that they've been there for years, right? And it's like, wow, okay, right? And so with this is a compliance check. This is one of your first steps. And if you are one of my students, you've seen this and you know that I live by it, right? So if my students call me and they ask me for some assistance on a case, I tell them, okay, where's your compliance check? So they already know that they have to call me with this information prepared and ready, because this is so important. And so I'm going to show you why this is important and how many things that you can actually read from just this report alone, right? So when you're looking at it, this is an example of a compliance check, right? So when you're doing a compliance check, this is basically when we first get a client, we have them fill out what we call an authorization form, whether that be your 8821 or your 2848. And we're going to go more into that coming up classes. So whether it's your 2848 or your 8821 that you're filling out, once your client gives you that authority to represent them or assist them with their case, you're going to take that and call the Internal Revenue Service with that authorization form. When you contact the IRS with that authorization form, it is imperative that you get all of this information in order to create a great savings plan for your client, right? You can't miss any of this information. So this is the information that you want when you contact ACS, which is Automated Collection Systems Status Service, ACS. So when you contact ACS with the Internal Revenue Service to get this information, you want to make sure that you're getting all years that your client owes for, get all balances your clients owe for, and you also want to get the CSET dates, right? Those CSET dates are collection statute expiration dates. That basically means these are the dates that the tax debt is going to expire, right? That means that this is the date that the IRS can no longer collect on this debt, right? These are the dates they no longer can collect on it, right? So this is our compliance check that we pulled on a client October of 2022, okay? The client came to us in October 2022. They gave us an authorization form. They paid us a down payment. We'll go more into those things as well too. Once we got that down payment, we contacted the IRS and completed our compliance check. This is what we have. Okay, it shows that the client owes for 2008 and it says SFR, right? So that means substitute filed return. That basically means that the IRS filed that tax return for the client, right? This 33,000 that they have here, that means they just, they looked at the client's income. They said, okay, the client made $60,000 this year. We're just going to file his tax return. We're not going to give him any deductions. We're not going to give him anything off of it. We're just going to tax him on the complete income and submit the return for him. Right? That's what they do with substitute filed returns when they see that clients have money and they have earned money and they have not filed the tax return. Right? They're not going to do this on clients who they think are going to get a refund. Right? They only pull this kind of act on clients who they know is going to possibly owe them some money if they were to file the return. Okay, so this is a substitute filed return, meaning the IRS filed his 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 return. He filed his own 2018 return. So you can see the difference in when he filed and when they filed. So when he filed, it's at $3,988. When they filed, it was at $33,000, $21,000, $27,000. Right? All of these values, 39,000, 13,000, right? So you can see from 2008 all the way to 2011, all of those balances were going to expire in 4/21 of 2024, meaning that the IRS had to either get that money from my client before that date or they must remove it, right? So again, we got him at the end of 2022. Right? So we got him October 2022. So I'm looking at it like I really got a hot 14 to 16 months? Oh, the IRS got to come forward, right? Because I work in the best interest of my client, right? And some people, if you are trained by the Internal Revenue Service, you have to know that they're not going to train you to go against them, right? What they're teaching is this is what an offering compromise is. This is what that ain't what you need. Right? You got to stop going to classes like that. You got to go somewhere where people are actually care about the actual client, right? That's what I do. I care about my client. I care about saving my client money. I'm not going to take that case if I can't save them the money, right? I'm right off. And I will tell a client right off top, I can't save you no money. This is, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what to do with you, right? So, and you get situations like that. Right. But you have to know how to evaluate those things. And so that's what a lot of what we teach in class too, is how to evaluate it. Right. So when we look at this particular report, I see that this client has maybe $100 and some $1,000 coming off for 2024. I got 16 months. So I could have made a decision, right, to go back and file all these tax returns, right? Because so if someone who is not a resolution specialist, let me tell you what these non-resolution specialists do. And I'm talking about CPAs, EAs, BAs, CAs, you can call them all the A's you want to call them, right? These is what these people are doing. These people are going back and filing all of these tax returns. You know why? Because they see money. Because they're not understanding that the money is in the savings of the resolution, right? So I'm going to make the same exact money from saving him the money. I don't have to go and charge him for all of these particular tax returns. And so what a lot of people are seeing, oh, he's missing tax returns from 2008 to forward, right? That's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. I can charge him maybe $6,000 for returns. Yeah, you can make $6,000 in returns, right? But you'll hit this client with, you know what I'm saying, balances that'll start his CSET dates all over. Right. So if you go in and you file this tax return because you see that it's a substitute filed return and you were to file it, let's say we filed that tax return in October of 2022 and it brought his balance down. Let's say it brought it down to $5,000. Right. Let's say, for instance, it brought this balance down to $5,000. Right. We filed the tax return. The balance comes down to $5,000 because we filed the actual real tax return. Well, guess what it's going to do? It's going to change those CSET dates from 2024 to 2032, right? Because it's going to, now they got 10 more extra years to collect that 5,000, right? And now you got to think that 5,000 is going to have penalties and interest added onto it from 2008 forward. So now that 5,000 is going to turn into almost 20,000 again. Do you understand? So it's about understanding simple strategies like that. And so those are the things that I want to spend a lot more time with teaching you guys and showing you all those savings plans. So those are the kind of things that we learn in our class. Those are the kind of things that you should be looking for someone to be teaching you when you're paying these $8,000, $10,000 classes, right? If they care about you getting the information and they really care about seeing more of us in this industry, then it wouldn't be that, right? Because you can give people great things and not do that to them in the same sense. But if they're not teaching you this, then they're not teaching you resolution, right? So you have to vet people on that part of it, right? The savings part of it, right? So what we did was we looked at this report. I said, okay, he's missing returns from 2008 to all the way to 17, right? So 8 to 17, he's missing tax returns. Okay, I'm going to make the decision that I'm not going to file any of these tax returns, right? Because I looked at 2014 transcripts. He's going to owe if I file that tax return. I looked at 2016 transcripts. He would have owed if I filed that tax return, plus penalties and interest, as well as 17 tax return he would have owed for. I made the strategic decision to say, okay, I'm not going to file any of these tax returns. And I'm also not going to make a move, right? I'm going to sit back and see what the IRS does, right? So the client had some threatening letters. They call me, they call us, LaShonda, I owe $147,000. The IRS is sending us notices. We don't know what to do. Okay, send us the information. Let us get started. Once I pulled this information and see he owed $147,000, how much do y'all think I charged him for that? I charged him $14,000. $14,700. I charged him 10% of what this case was. And I'm going to show you how much work I did to make that $14,000. You want to see? So this is where your money is at, right? Your money ain't in no work. Your money is not in no filling out no paperwork and rushing a bunch of applications through. That's tax prep. Tax resolution is about contemplating time and strategy, right? So I got this case in October of 22. I sat back. The client paid me a total of I think he started out at $975 a month, right? So he started out paying me $975 a month until 2024, right? And so you can see here in 2024, this is his, well, now you say 2025, this is his updated balance. He now owes $38,000. You think he has any problem with paying me that $14,000? He ain't got the first. He don't have the first issue with paying me that $14,000 because, as you can see, all those other years fell off. Right? Can I go backwards? All those other years fell off in 2024. All of them. Now he's down to $38,000 from $147,000. Now, if you were taught by one of these payment plan people, one of these application teachers, right? They would say, put him on a payment plan and just fill out him a 433 and put him on a payment plan, right? That is not correct. Why would you do that? Why would he pay on something that the IRS ain't enforcing? Right. And so in my class, y'all going to learn when to put a client on a payment plan and when not to. Sometimes people are pulling triggers that they shouldn't even be pulling. Right. Sometimes people may say, well, I'm going to file him an offer in compromise. What if you would have went and filed this man an offer in compromise and it got denied? It would have took them 2024 dates and took them all the way to 2026, 2027. Then the IRS would have got him before they fell off. Versus you taking the time to strategically look at it and make sure you're there for the client. I'm waiting on them to make their move, right? Let them make their best shot. And when they make their move, I'm going to make my move. It's about strategy. It's about strategy. It is not about application. So the IRS didn't make a move. They didn't make not one move on this client. So guess how much work I did? None. Guess what I got paid $14,000 for? The strategy. The strategy. That's the only thing you should be getting paid for. You should not be getting paid no applications for these people. You should be getting paid for the strategy. You should be getting paid for your knowledge, right? Not for the hours. Resolution doesn't take hours of work. The maximum time you should take on a resolution case is 5 to maximum 10 hours per resolution case. And most of those 10 hours are going to be dragged out over a period of a year to 2 years. You follow? So this is not a time game. Resolution is going to give you back your freedom. I am calm over here. Stress free. Child, I don't remember the last time I worked. What? Why? Because I'm doing the strategy, right? And if you structure it in a way that we teach you in these classes and really try to learn it, then you'll get there, right? And so what our follow-through strategy, our ending strategy is for him. So we recently checked on it. So what we're doing for this client, all we basically got to do is go back and check, make sure everything is up to date, make sure those balances falling off. So every 6 months or so, we pull in a compliance check. Where they at? What's going on with their case? Making sure these balances fall off. Make sure the IRS ain't changed no dates, right? Making sure those dates are where those dates are supposed to be. Right. So we're checking those things periodically. And then we're just contacting the client once a month to say, hey, you have any questions? Everything okay? All right. Talk to you later. So the client ain't got no questions for me. I just saved him $130,000, $100,000. You got no questions for me, right? You call him once a month. Hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm doing fine. You need anything? No, ma'am. I'll talk to you later, Miss Hudson. All right. Thank you. Call me if you need me. Right. But send me my $975 every month. Right. Every single month. And so when you give the clients, when you build it up in that way, you build it up to where you're building it in a way where when you build up 30, 40 clients in that manner, now you got 40 people that you know that are going to pay you every single month on time, residually for the next 2 years, for the next, some clients, 3 years, right? Minimum 12 months, right? You set it up in that way. So I show you guys how to set it up in a strategic way so that you're not overworked, you're not overwhelmed. You know what your residual income is. You're able to plan. You know what your monthly income is every single month. You know, so you understand how to balance things. And that's what it is about balance, because resolution is case management. This is not you take on this case and he's going to be gone in 3 months. That's not resolution. Right? That's not resolution. You can't tell me you're made a savings plan for your client in 3 months, 3 to 6 months. You can't tell me that. And I've heard people say that resolution should be 3 to 6 months, case maximum. Shut up. These people do not know what they're talking about. Resolution is what it takes best for my client. That's what it is. What's best for my client. Right? This isn't about tax evasion, right? Because we also can see that this client didn't even owe that money. This is tax returns that the IRS filed for him and then compound penalties and interest on top of it. We can see that when the client actually files his own tax return, it's $4,000. They filed it as $38,000, $33,000. So that wasn't his real balance. Is what he's going to wind up paying them is really what he wind up with, what he really owed them. So what we're really doing is breaking it back down to the original balance, because the Internal Revenue Service has trumped it up so high with penalties and interest, right? So when you're saving clients money, some people want to say, oh, you're helping them do tax evasion and tax fraud. That's not true. You're totally wrong, right? That's not the truth at all. I'm not helping anyone evade the IRS. I'm just stopping the IRS from doing some of their nonsense, right? They're one of the biggest bullies and the biggest cartel or gangsters you ever want to see, right? They come and take your house and your car, right? If you don't pay and all this other stuff. So, you know, some of the things that they're doing with the penalties and interest, no other company can compile penalties and interest like that on a monthly basis, right? And so another thing to the payment plan people, right? You got to know that if you just rush and put your client on a payment plan, 9 times out of time, they're going to wind up paying more than what their debt is. Know why? Because whatever payment plan you put them on, go ahead and multiply that particular payment plan by their number of CSED dates. These are CSED dates, right? These here. these 831, 120, these are CSET dates. So let's say you grab the client right now and you put them on a, let's say this client right here, you put him on $1,000, you get him and you put him on a $700 a month payment plan. When you take that $700 and you multiply it by the number of months left, it's going to come out more than this 38,000. Right? Who wants to do that? Who wants to pay them more? Because you got to think the balance keeps going up. And so even though the client may be paying $700 a month, but the IRS is going to be taking at least 30% of it, 40% of that payment. So if they're paying $7 a month, the IRS is taking $3 of it towards penalties and interest, sometimes more than that. So you have to keep in mind when you're doing strategy with resolution. So those are the things that you want to know. Okay. The next one is, why choose the path to tax resolution? Right? Out of all them things I just told you, this is another one. It's lucrative. You get to charge 80%. 10%, minimum of 10% of what your client's debt is. Right? So if this client owes $80,000 to the Internal Revenue Service, I'm gonna make $8,000 off that client. Right? So you're getting more per client. So people ask me why I don't do tax returns. Why would I? Those people are not going to aggravate me for no $300 to $600. Absolutely not. I am not mentally stable enough for it. Right. And some people have found out that I don't have my mental stability as they thought I should. Right. I am still a professional, but I'm mentally stable enough for some of the things that go on. Right. And so I couldn't do that aggravation for $300, $600, right? $700. And then on top of that, you have the IRS on your neck too, with penalties and this and that. So it's a more lucrative business over here. I'm going to get 8,000 per client versus the 600, 700, 900 per client. There's a big difference over here. So when it comes to that, I don't need, 300 clients, right? I get 10 clients just myself, right? Let's say I pull 10 clients in a year. That's about 80. Let's say I put 20 clients in a year. That ain't hard to do. That ain't hard to do at all, right? Pull 20 clients in a year. You charging each one of them about, let's say you're charging them 5,000 to 8,000. You're looking at 150 to 60,000, 140, $160,000, right? A year. And guess how many hours you'll probably work with those 20 clients? If you're doing 10 hours per case, right? You're doing 10 hours of work per case and you got 20 cases. And you're only doing 20 cases per year. You do 20 resolution cases a year. 20 resolution cases a year. Okay? 20 of them, 10 hours per case. That's 200 hours you worked in a year. Versus some people damn near doing that a month. They're trying to squeeze it in. I don't even know how you get 200 hours in a month, but they try to squeeze that in, right? So it's a lot different. It's a lot less headache. It's a lot less. Okay. One, it's a lucrative business. Tax resolution is very much a lucrative business, right? Client retention. Another thing with tax resolution is that your clients normally stay with you. Right. And most of those clients are going to always reference back to you, because you got to think, like, this guy just saved him. I just showed you guys in the pudding, and that's not one of my clients. Right. I'm just telling you, every single one of my cases that I take, I'm not going to stop until I save them money. Right. Whether I'm going towards a penalty abatement where I got to double back and do this and double back and run this hill, I will run the IRS in circles because that is my job. Right. I don't guarantee my clients a program. I guarantee them the savings, right? And so that's what I'm going to teach you guys again. Don't guarantee your client an offer in compromise, because you can't do that. That's fraud. That's fraud. You can't guarantee somebody you're going to get an offer in compromise for them. The IRS will shut that crap down so fast. Them people will pull somebody they behind hole, and you don't even know if the OIC agent you got that day just lost her husband, right? She ain't accepting nothing that day. Right? She ain't accepting nothing. She don't care what you got, what your client got on the application. She just having a bad day. Right? So you can't guarantee an offer in compromise or a certain program, but what you can guarantee is savings, right? And so that's what I do guarantee my clients is savings. So I may have to use multiple things, right? I may have to run some CSAID days. I may have to file a penalty abatement. I may have to put them on a strategic payment plan. I may have to file an offer. I may have to do several different things, right, to get to the place where I want to be. Okay. So it brings client retention. So when you save clients that kind of money, they're always going to come back to you. So it's going to bring great client retention, right? Tax resolution specialist is a highly demanded skill. The reason that it's highly demanded is because there's no way to learn the information that you need, right? To be in all honesty, I may be one of 3 classes in the United States that's really going to teach you what you really need to know and what you really need to do to be successful in this, right? A lot of these other places, they're talking to you about theory, case theory. Oh, this case is this, and I did this with a case. No, pull me down into this stuff. Dig me out the bottom, numbers. Show me the pudding, right? Show me how to calculate the numbers. Show me how to do the work. Show me the intricate parts of it, right? Don't give me case study, right? Show me how to set up the office. Tell me how I should structure this thing. Those are the things that you need. Okay. So it's a very highly demanded skill because it's not enough people out there teaching it. There's not enough avenues in it. Right. So, and there's not a lot of people that does it. Right. So you may have, let's say you got 5,000 EAs, which I know it's a whole bunch more than that, but let's just say around them, you got 5,000 EAs. You probably only have 1,000 of them that really does resolution, and probably only 500 of them that really know it. Right. So you have to think on that sense that it's a very highly demanded skill. People are out here, they're needing the help. IRS is using AI now to send out these letters. Final notices are going out even higher now. It is getting absolutely crazy. So what you're going to see is an influx of people running to try and find this help, right? So that's what's going on right now. So it's a skill that's very much in high demand. You just have to make sure that you learn the intricate skills, have the support behind you when you do run into those cases that can support you and help walk you through those cases until you get your own footing and then pull off into your own business. Just keep going. It's very much a highly demanded skill. And it also leads to additional services, right? It leads to additional services. Like if you get a client comes to you for tax resolution, they're 9 times 10 going to need their taxes done too, right? A lot of them are going to need their bookkeeping done too as well. I've had clients even ask me to help them with their mortgage modification, right? The mortgage modification application is the same thing as the offer and compromise application. So sometimes when these clients come to you and they confide in you for financial advice or financial help, and you help them, they come to you for everything financial. So it really can turn into a lucrative business. I have clients whose cases I have resolved that still pay me every month to stay around, right? They just don't want me to go anywhere. They just don't want me to go anywhere. They want you to be there, right? Resolution, to choose a path of resolution because it brings freedom, right? I'm able to work anywhere that I want to work. Wherever my phone is, I'm working, right? If I got my phone on my laptop, I'm working. So I have my app really on my phone so I can kind of really work from my phone. But laptop and my phone, I'm working, right? So that's all you need. So I can be anywhere where there's internet and I'm working. So it gives me the freedom to have time with my children, right? I'm never working. The IRS closes at 5. LaShonda Hudson is too, right? What do you want? Right. After those hours. So I'm home with my children. I'm not working on weekends and holidays. I'm not working at nights, right? I'm able to travel with them. I already have my clients structured and scheduled out. So if I want to take a whole month off, I can take a whole month off and my income will remain the same, right? There's not too many places you can do that. I haven't worked since May. I took May, June, and June. I just started back working in July. My income stays the same, right? My residual is going to stay the same because you structure your clients, you structure your business in a way where it can maintain it. And you're able to do that with resolution, where in other fields, it demands you to be present, right? And this doesn't. Okay, so it brings along that freedom. The other thing, like again, this thing is lucrative. So I had a business coaching consulting session, and something told me just to look up. The coach told me to look up, my competitors, right? And so I was just like on just one of my things, and I said, well, let me do it today. So we was on a meeting today with my staff, And so while we were having a meeting, we just decided to look it up. And so we looked up Optima tax relief, and I should have put that on the slide. I don't know why I didn't put that on the slide. But Optima's revenue for 2023 was $211 million. $211 million was their revenue. They're only making that kind of money because y'all ain't got out there and gave them that smoke, right? Because I know a lot of y'all professionals, y'all tax pros bring the smoke. Y'all bring that pressure and that pain. I look up to a lot of you guys in the hustle that you have in you, right? You don't have any parameters, no walls up against y'all. I love that. The hustle in you. So I don't want you guys, and the reason that I'm showing this is that I don't want you guys to look at LaShonda and say, well, she ain't got shit. Why I want to be like her? You know, she got a crunchy wig on, right? I don't want to be like her. Don't look at me. You better look at this money. Don't look at me because I don't care about stuff like that, right? My value lies in family and my children, right? My legacy. So things like that. So you won't get the lifestyle market from me. So I don't want you guys to look at me and say that this is not an industry that you want to be in, or this is not an industry you want to do. I'm here to teach you all, right? I'm here to teach you all to be better than me, right? Some of you guys have teams already. So, and some of you guys have a lot more hustle than me, right? Again, mentally, LaShonda ain't there. I'm good where I am, right? I'm not pressed on nothing. But I want to see you guys push higher than me. I don't want you guys to look at me and say, no, I feel like I'm not one of those coaches, right? I know my mental capacity with what life has done to me. I'm making that choice to be where I am, right? I could push, but I'm making that choice. But what I am saying is I want you guys to grab this information, learn this information, and really go out there and give them hell. Go out there and give them hell. I always tell all my students, I want to see you guys do better than me, right? Don't be like me, be better than me. So I'm trying to give you all every piece of information that I know, everything that I have in me, so that you can utilize this and be very great competition against them. Okay, so these are some of Optima tax relief competition, right? So you got the Tax Defense Network. They're bringing in 2.6 mil a year. They had 100 employees. Moran, 100 mil. 1 mil. Pew CPAs, 11.4. Who is this? Fast Solutions making 28 mil a year. Right. So I'm telling you, the money is there. Some of you girls already got 10, 15 people on your team. You know these people can't compete with y'all, right? You see what you did with the tax market. Like anything y'all touch, y'all can run with it, right? So I don't know why I don't see the hustle in the resolution market like I see in the tax prep market. I'm thinking that maybe the confidence isn't there. So I am putting out more support programs so that I am going to be there to give you that confidence. If you feel like you get a client, you need some help, we're there. So not only will myself be there, we're creating a team. We have people that we're putting in place right now who's going to be at a call line where you guys can call at any time. You got questions, you got questions, you can call. You got to call. So it's a business support thing. It's to support you in your business so you can feel confident to go out there and market. Be that guerrilla marketing person that LaShonda isn't, right? Go out there and do that. Okay. So some of the services that you can offer with resolution, that's going to be your offer and compromise, right? This is what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants an offer and compromise, but I teach you in my class how to not do that, right? Because everybody doesn't qualify for it. So if the only way you know how to save clients money is an offer and compromise, then you, again, are not a resolution specialist, right? You just fill out applications. Okay, so there's a difference. So an offer and compromise, there's qualifications to it, and not everybody qualifies for it, right? That's basically where you can settle the debt with the client, with the Internal Revenue Service based on the client's assets and equity and their expendable income. Right. So if that client's assets and equity is higher than what their debt is, their chances of getting the offer is slim. Right. They're gonna have to have breast cancer or something, right? Or something. And I spelled compromise wrong, but y'all will be okay. Installment agreements is the next one. That's basically your payment plan. There's different types of installment agreements. And I let you guys know which ones are best for which client, right? You got to know what installment agreement is best for which client, right? If my client has high income, and my students know this, if my client has high income, then I'm going to avoid doing a financial statement for my client at all costs, right? I'm not giving them proof of nothing, right? If my client got a lot of income and assets, oh, they're going to have to fight me for that financial statement. Oh, boy, I'm going to run them in some circles, right? Because I'm not here to hand my client over to the IRS. That's not what I'm here to do. That's not what I'm here to do. I am here to get my client resolved, right? To get them to come to some resolution, right? Because that's basically what we are doing. We are basically bringing the client to the IRS, where the IRS has been the person that's sending the clients letter after letter after letter after letter, and they've gotten no response out of the client, right? What we basically do is the client calls us, and then we contact the IRS and we put them in cahoots, right? We actually bring the client to the IRS, but we bring the client to the IRS with a solution, right? With something that works for everybody, something that works for the client and the Internal Revenue Service. So that's another thing. That's what we're doing. And we're not here. We're not just hurting the IRS. We're helping them in the same sense, but we're going to help them in the way that it helps our client as well. Okay. Then you have your penalty abatement. Just basically getting the penalties off. Your currently non-collectible status. This is another one that I pull a lot. Right. I pull this one a lot. Right. Especially if my client has a lot of assets. Right. If they got some assets or a house or something, I try to pull on that non-collectible, especially if they're low income. This is going to be something that has been more prevalent now, that I'm seeing a lot of clients that are coming through that, let's say somebody claimed the child on their tax return, or they put a fake business on their tax return, or they claim, household employees on the tax return, something of that sort, right? To create a higher refund. And then the IRS came back and audited them. So let's say they got a $20,000 refund. The IRS audited them. Now the IRS want $30K back from them because of this fraudulent return, right? So these are the people that I use a non-collectible status for, because most of the time these are low-income people, right? They're not people that normally get a refund, or high income earners, right? So normally have to pay. So they're normally people that would get a refund. They just decided, I want a bigger refund. Like, this refund ain't good enough. I need a bigger one. They just got a little greedy. The IRS came back and bid them for it. Now they owe that plus penalties and interest. But if you look at some of their situations, their income is very low. And some of them also have no assets. So you can look at an offer and compromise for them too. But if they have the assets and stuff, sometimes just put them on a non-collectible. You have to also think too, with the offer and compromise, some of those people can't even afford to pay you for the offer and compromise. Right, I'm charging no less than $2,500 for an offer and compromise. So sometimes tax professionals put clients in a situation where these clients can't even afford the services to get out of it. Right, they can't even afford the services. But we're going to try to do some pro bono work. We're trying to bring in some of those clients who can't afford to pay for the services, who can't afford to pay, the large amounts that firms are charging to help them out of the situation. We're trying to bring some of those cases in so that we can have our students start working on those cases at the end of the training. So once the training is over, we're hoping to have enough of pro bono cases to pass around. We've tried a few other things, and we only pulled maybe 1 or 2 people from it, but we got to switch up our marketing and see if we can get more for you guys. But that is something in the making too. Okay, so currently non-collectible status, that's basically where you're saying with the IRS is that my client's income is lower than what their expenses are. Like, their expenses exceed their income. So basically my client expenses is $4,000 a month, but my client only brings in $3,000 a month. Right? So my client's expenses exceed their income. So if their expenses exceed their income, then you can't get any money. What money are you going to get from my client? Right. So you have to know that too, right? That's something very important that people don't even know while they're running out here talking about a payment plan and a streamline and all this stuff right here. You have to think that the number one rule is that the IRS can only get what the client has available after expenses, especially when you're dealing with an installment agreement. Okay. It's based on income after expenses. Okay. You have some other little situations where they'll try to pull it if they feel like the client has real, real high assets. But it's still, I don't care how they try to flip or turn it. I've had them try to fight me all which way. Oh, they have a house. You can't make them go take their equity out their house for no payment plan, ma'am. You tried it. Good luck, right? Try it on somebody else. Try it on one of those other resolution people, but not me. I'm a resolution specialist. You can't try it on me, right? So y'all are going to be resolution specialists. So they're not going to be able to try those games on you. Okay, but the IRS tries it all the time, right? So the next one is lien subordination, getting liens removed. You can help clients get levy and wage garnishments. Let's say the IRS takes the money out of their bank account. You can help that client actually get their money back in their account, right? You have a certain amount of time to move. Clients think that you are amazing when you do that, right? Let's say they take 15,000 out of their account. They call you, LaShonda, the IRS took 15,000 out of my account. Okay, give me 5. Give me 5. Okay, give me 25. Or you can let the IRS keep the rest of it. And I'll get their money back from them. Make a phone call, get it done, get them set up on a payment plan, get that stuff, get that paperwork to them, get whatever I need to the IRS within 24 hours or 48 hours, get the client 48 hours, the client's money is back in their account. They have no problem with paying you the money, right? Because they would rather get all their money back. So those type of things that you're able to do and make money off of, those clients are out there and they need your assistance. They just don't know that the help is out there. Clients don't know that when the IRS takes their money out of their account or garnishes their wages, that they can stop that or they can get their money back. They think, oh, the IRS took my money out of my account, that, oh, that's just it. No, they took their money out of your account. You can get it back. It may cost you a little something, but I'll get it back for you within 24 to 48 hours. You have rights. And so that's what you guys are here for, is to, let the client know what their rights are. What are their rights? What are their rights? The IRS is going to violate their rights every time if you let them. Right? That's your job to stand up for it. Right? You're able to help the clients with appeals assistance and audit assistance as well too. So all of those things are things that you're able to help with. Okay. Who is your ideal client, right? Who is your tax resolution client? I hear this a lot. Like, where do I find the clients? Well, who owes tax debt, right? Your ideal client is going to be your high wage earners, right? Who earns high wages? You got your nurses, your doctors, your medical field people. You got your construction workers. You got, all those are your clients, your high wage earners. Where are they at, right? We're getting ready to advertise the nurses. Right, construction, truckers. Who makes this money? Right, these business owners that make this money. Who makes this money that are likely don't have their bookkeeping together, their taxes together? Right, these electricians, any kind of trade work, them your tax debt clients. Right, because a lot of people are workers, and that's not nothing knocking them. Right, that just means that they're not a tax professional. Right. They're not an accountant. They're not a bookkeeper. They know electrical work. Right. So I know electrical work. I'm just going to tie some wires together over here because this is what I know. They're not paying attention to their books and their everything else and everything that's going on. They wind up in tax debt. Right. So it's no ding to them because they do owe the tax debt. But those are the people that do owe because they're good at their particular craft. Right. And so you have to go in and offer them how your craft helps them focus more on their craft. Right. So I can help you with this financial part of, get the IRS off your back and give you some financial freedom, get your books together, get everything together, get you back on the right track. You can focus on tying wires together. Okay. Those kind of things. Business owner. The next type of client is going to be your hookup people. Right. You can advertise to them people. Those people are coming out the woodworks now. I never had those type of clients until after 2022. Like 2020. I'm gonna be honest, 2020, 2021, that's when those clients started coming out. I never had those kind of clients before because low income people was rarely the people that owed tax debt, right? It rarely was. But now you have people that, went to somebody, they wanted to get the hookup on their taxes. They know a lot of money was going around. They thought because they did it 1 year or 2 years, they got away with it. The IRS wouldn't say anything. Boom, the IRS finally catches them, go back, IRS catch them for 1 year. They go back the following 3 years and hit them for all 3 years. Right. So now they're at a $60,000 point when they only make $30,000 a year. I probably don't even have a job. Right. So these are your type of clients too. So there's a market out there for those people. Your people who did the ERC and the PPP loan. Right. Those people are out there. Right. They need tax debt help. Right. Tax professionals are your tax client, right? You got a lot of tax professionals that are your tax client, right? That's no ding to them either. People got to learn, right? I don't judge, right? I don't judge, and I give 100% confidentiality, right? That's another thing you have to make sure you're doing with resolution. Confidentiality is everything, right? Protecting those clients' information is everything. Okay. So you don't judge. I tell a lot of people, I have to tell my tax resolution students all the time, when they come over here to the tax resolution part, they can't be thinking like they think on the tax prep part, right? Tax prep. Oh, they did fraud. They put this on their tax return. Oh, they ain't paid it. Oh, you think I care? I do not care. If it wasn't for those people making those mistakes, I wouldn't have clients, right? If it wasn't for clients, high wage earners not having enough taxes withheld from their pay, I wouldn't have clients, right? If it wasn't for business owners focusing on their craft and not paying attention to their finances, I wouldn't have clients. If it weren't for tax professionals, doing fraud on people's tax return or people getting the hookup, I wouldn't have clients. So why am I here to judge, right? That's just like a lawyer. When you go to a criminal defense attorney, they're not judging you. They just want you to tell them the truth so they can do the best thing that they can do to help you, right? And so that's the gist of it, right? So you have that misinformed taxpayers as well. So where do you find these tax debt clients at? Right? Go to some of your construction sites, go to these professional events, conferences, different things like that. You can go to different conferences, from credit repair conferences, tax prep conferences. You have your real estate conferences, you have your investors conferences, you have your business mogul conferences. So what I learned in those conferences, right? And this is what has helped me stand out in the industry, and why some of you even know who I am. Because when you go in those conferences, how many people do tax resolution? Little to none, right? Little to none. So if I go in a place where I'm the only person that offer my services, I can eat that up. Oh, I'm all over. Hey, how you doing? Hey, nice to meet you. Hey, what's your name? Oh, girl, nice to meet you. Girl, I'm cute. Your shoes cute, right? I'm all over. I'm getting my business card out there. I'm networking. I'm working, right? I'm gonna listen to what they got to say at the conference, but I went there with the intention of marketing, right? Because that's what it's about. Because we don't waste time. We don't waste time. So, in the same sense. Okay, so you want to go to those different conferences. There's insurance. I go to insurance conferences, right? I go to all types of conferences, right? So get into places, go to those places, meet those people, hand out. So even if you don't get your ideal client there, guess what else you'll get? You'll possibly get a referral, right? So also go to some of these high job paying sites, right? Nursing, construction, real estate. These people are gonna owe. Right? These people are making money. These people are going to owe. Okay. So go to these job sites. You can see a construction job site. Walk up there with your business card. Hey, how y'all doing? Any of y'all owe some tax that y'all know somebody? Y'all give me a call. I'm going to give y'all a special deal just for y'all. I see y'all out here working. Or walk up there with some water. Okay. Walk up there with some water and some carbs. Oh, here's a 12. I seen y'all out here working so hard. Here's a 12-pack of water for you guys over here. And I'm going to leave a few business cards in case anybody have anything with some tax debt. Y'all just let me know, right? The thing about tax debt, and we're going to go into that next week about sales, right? With tax debt, you don't have to be pushy about your sales. All you do is tell them what you do, right? Here I am, and here's what I do. The IRS is going to run them to you. I say that over and over, right? So you just want to bring awareness. Once you do that, you can sit back. Right? I tell you guys all the time, you don't even see me market for tax debt clients. Yet and still, I pull about 3 to 5 a week. Okay? So I'm telling you some proven method that I've used, from first putting my feet to the pavement, getting out there, letting people know my name. What is it that I do? What is it, who I am? Posting my stuff, sharing it, paying for different groups, getting into different places, getting the awareness out. Right. So once the awareness out, you ain't really got to do all that no more. The awareness is out there. They're going to send the clientele to you. Right. Don't forget, like, your community events, your chamber of commerce, the business meetings, the city council meetings, those places right there, the churches, when they have nonprofit events, They have different things like that. They have community events for the community. I went to all of those things. Community events, nonprofit events, all of those. I'm there. Right? I'm putting my face out there and letting them know who I am, what I do. And the next thing is word of mouth, right? Give incentives, right? I give the incentives. I pay them $1,000 per referral, right? So every payment of if you send a client to me, I pay them 30% of every payment that I get from that client until it reaches 30%, reaches $1,000, right? So if you give that incentive, you put that on the back of a card, $1,000, right? I make sure that's on the back of every one of my cards, right? Because we'll throw away a business card, but you won't throw away a discount card. I got that Kroger card in my pocket still. I don't even go to Kroger no more. But I'm going to hold on to it just in case I wind up going by there. Right? You'll never throw it away because it's a discount on it. It has some value to it. Right? So you put that value, that incentive on back of that card. Watch that person stick that card in their wallet and not forget it. Right? You go to a lot of events and I see people hand me card after card. I come home and just throw it. You know what I'm saying? I got 20 cards. Ain't no incentive on them. Put some incentive on it. Put some money on it. They're going to call you. You'll get it. Okay. Also use your social media platforms. Social media platforms are a great way of getting word out there, getting visibility, getting yourself out there, as well as Google, using your SEO optimizations and different things like that. Google is a good place. There are also different places like, what is it? I think it's Curio. I'm going to get some of those other places that you can actually post your business on there, your service on there, and it'll bring you services. I haven't done it myself, but yeah, there are some things out there that you can actually add yourself to bring in more business. Okay, these are some of the mistakes that you want to avoid with resolution. Get a clear niche. You know what I'm saying? Know what your niche is. If you're helping the tax debt clients, I would take my time and focus on one or the other. You can get a certain industry. You know what I'm saying? Just like you can see some people in the tax prep industry that focuses just on truck drivers, right? You can get a niche where you're actually getting exactly, you know what I'm saying, getting your ideal client, right? Kind of niche down on what your ideal client is, right? We just talked about some of those people, your high wage earners, different things like that. Kind of press on what their pain points are. What are those things that are bothering them? Are you constantly stressed about IRS letters? Why, this, are you, are you in threat of losing your home? Some people are in threat of even losing their job. So those things, so figure out their pain points and definitely get a clear niche. Another problem with resolution is not following up, right? You got to follow up with those leads. You got to follow up with those clients and have communication. Communication is so big with resolution. How you communicate with those clients is big. We're going to go more into communication next Thursday. How to speak to them, how to talk to them, what things are they looking for, what things do they want to hear from you, right? Those kind of things on your sales call. We're going to work on that next week on how you kind of communicate with those clients. Don't just rely on referrals. Stick yourself out there and put yourself out there. It's going to take some time. It took me years to get to the point where I didn't have to go out and do the marketing, the guerrilla marketing like that. Okay. Posting randomly without a strategy. Kind of create yourself a strategy as to how you're going to go at it. Who are you going to target and when? Right? When do you target certain markets? Right? And some people may say, like they say, you be getting money out of tax pros. Y'all are my target market. Why not? Does that make sense? Right? And so I know when to target tax pros and when not to. I know not to do a class between January and March. I know not to really do a class in May and June. Those are one of my target markets for my class. Right? So if I'm looking at my resolution training business, you guys are my target market. All right. Tax professionals, EAs, CPAs, or anybody who has, that wants to get into a new field. Right. You don't have to have any tax prep knowledge to get into resolution. Right. But you are the people that are running into those kind of clients all the time. So you're the ones that need this information more than anyone needs this information. Is going to be your tax prep people. Right. You guys are the ones that's leaving a lot of money on the table. Right. Your tax prep. So of course, that's my niche. That's my market when it comes to my schooling. It's not my market for my resolution, my tax debt clients, but it is my market for my classes. right? So you got to know when to push at certain markets, when to kind of push on pain points, right? When to market, when not to market, when to throw a class, when not to throw a class, right? Most tax pros are on vacation from May to July. I'm not going to do a class in May, right? I'm not going to do a class in June because I'm understanding my market, right? So you have to understand that when it comes to classes and things like that. But as far as the other business, if you're dealing with, just the resolution business, you want to, if you're coming towards a certain market, if you know that like construction business is pumping and jumping around this time, or you see a construction site, then I'm going over there at this particular point. If I know that this time of year they have a lot of these type of conferences, I'm going to go and hit these type of conferences during this type of year, right? And just kind of get out there. I see, here they're having this kind of business meeting, this networking thing. I'm going to go there, right? Just kind of making sure you're getting yourself out there and getting yourself. Okay. The next thing is educating them instead of selling them, right? Just work on just kind of telling them some of the things that the IRS offers that they can do. Tell them some of the things that they don't know about, right? Do you know that the IRS only has 10 years to collect the debt? No clients really know that. Most professionals don't know that, right? Right. So little things like that. Do you know that, the IRS can only get from you what you have left over after monthly expenses? All right. Do you know that, right? You can settle your tax debt based on your assets and your equity. So if you don't have any assets and equity, you can settle your debt for what you have. Right. Do you know that if you have, you've got an $80,000 debt, it's possible to settle it for $200? Right. So those are kind of things, just kind of letting them know like what some of their options are. Right. Some of these clients are being pushed into places where they have like large payment plans. Like, some clients come to me, they're paying, I had a client come to paying $2,500 a month. Right. Sir, call your bank, stop payment on that payment, and then call me back once you stop payment, and I'm going to charge you $975 a month, and I'll help you get rid of that debt. So now he's looking at $975, $2,500, $975, $2,500, right? He's rather give me that $975 a month with no questions asked and drop that $2,500 a month because it was killing him to pay it, right? So just kind of giving them the information that they need. Okay. So next training, you guys, is our next tax resolution training, where we're actually gonna go in depth into completing IRS cases, mastering offering compromise installment agreements, working on real client cases, building your confidence in systems and results. So that our full training is going to start August the 7th. The next 3 classes we're going to have is going to be giving you guys all that preliminary information that I don't take time with in my classes, right? So in my classes, we really kind of get right to, my students gonna tell you, like day one, we're telling you what to do when you got your client. Like day one, we're going right into filling out this 8821, understanding how to do your client questionnaire, understanding that compliance check, how to price. Next class, we're going right into offering compromises. So we kind of really hit it once we get there, pushing, like getting you the necessary information. The reasoning that we structure the classes in that way is that some people come to our class and they already have a client, right? So we teach you from, if you have a client, what to do step 1. Right. So when you leave this first class starting August 7th, you're going to know exactly what to do with that client. You're going to know how to go price that client. You're going to know exactly what form to fill out. You're going to have your client questionnaire filled out. You're going to know exactly how to solidify that deal and make that sale. Okay. So August 7th. So if you have a client, if you don't have a client, I would say you guys need to go ahead and start marketing. If you have a client base where you have clients in your system that owe tax debt or anything of that sort, if you know that previously, go back through your client list. Like some of you tax pros already have clients that do owe that tax debt, so that you can go ahead and go back through that client list, and you can go back through that client list and just kind of see where your clientele is. Even if you decide that you want to work on some of these cases pro bono, right? So look for some of those things. If they can't even afford to pay you, it's going to do you good to have a case to actually work all the way through to the end, right? So you get the heebie-jeebies off of you of being scared to call the IRS, how to talk to the IRS. You're gonna run into those things with working with that client. So if you have those clients, I would say go ahead and start, marketing. Go ahead and start getting your flyers together. Go ahead and start thinking about your target market. Go ahead and think about your marketing strategy. Think about the clients that you already have in your arsenal, right? That you may already have in your client base. Go ahead and think about those. Go ahead and start gathering your clients. August 7th is not a long way. That's what, a month off, not even a month off, right? Pull those clients in, start lining them up. After our class on August 7th, that night when you finish that class, you're going to be able to go right back, sign those clients up, get your down payment, and get started to work. We teach it from that point, from point one to the end. Okay, so this sale that we have going on is going to be $29.97 until July 18th, right? So you'll get a few. There's going to be 3 more free classes, and we're going to have 2 more free classes, I think, and then it's going to be a free question and answer session. If you are someone that have a client and you want to bring those cases and those case questions to that class, bring those case questions, bring that information. Let's dig down into it and discuss it. My students will tell you, like, I help you guys learn it step by step. But if you want to get in this class, this is an opportunity, right? It's $29.97. This is basically for the price of one class. You're going to be able to charge that with one client. For the price of this class, you're going to make it back in one client, right? So the price of this class, you're going to make it back double that almost in one client. At minimum, you're going to make the price of this one class, you're going to make it back with one client, and then it's going to be residual after that. So once you learn it, you're going to continue to residually make money after that, on and on and on and on, with client after client. So it's definitely a great investment. It's something that you guys want to jump into. After the 18th, the price will go up to the $39.97. And it will not be back down to this price. So you guys pay attention to that date, that July 18th. Go ahead and get signed up. There are payment plans available. If you are someone that needs a in-house payment plan from us, please let us know ahead of time, right? So if there's a payment plan, we will create a payment option for you guys. Please let us know ahead of time. If, like, hey, LaShonda, I want to secure my spot. This is what I have. Like, we work with people on payment plans, but there's also Afterpay and Klarna that is also available for payment options too. Okay, but that was my spiel and everything I had with tax resolution. Anybody have any questions or anything? You got any questions, anything for me? Everybody good? No questions? Everybody good at where they are? They're good at where we are tonight. Again, if you have questions, you got something going on, inbox me. Don't miss the opportunity to actually jump a part of this class. If it's something that's going on, if you are a previous student, we do have the opportunity for the previous students as well too. If you know someone else who is interested in this class and you have a buddy, right? We are getting ready to offer our buddy pass, right? But they both have to pay at the same time, right? So it will be a buddy pass option that'll give you guys a little bit more of a discount. Just trying to get you all in here, right? So it's not about the money. It's more so about getting awareness out there, getting you guys trained, and getting enough people in the industry. The money part, the money's gonna come, right? I don't chase numbers, right? Money is a number, right? You can't chase numbers, so I'm good. So that's the thing. It's about getting the awareness out. So you guys, let me know if you have any questions. Tonight was a very great class. I enjoyed it. I hope everything broadcasted well. I hope everybody heard me. I hope Facebook was able to hear me and see me. If you have any questions, if you are there on Facebook and you actually do have any questions, please let me know. Drop your comments down in the section. Myself or my assistants will definitely answer those questions for you. All right. Other than that, we will see each other next week. It will be another hour-long session. We'll get started about 6:05, but I like for everybody to come on at 6. I try to be in class at least 10 minutes early so that I can answer any questions that anybody have. Like, we just get in here and talk, right? I just like to talk to my clients. You will learn that from my training classes. It's not boring. Like, I'm just gonna give you some really good information. You have to come with your ears turned on. I don't give a lot of fluff, right? I just don't believe in fluff, right? Some people will like to drag things out and put a whole lot of AI stuff in there to fluff it up and make themselves look smart. No, you're not gonna get that from me. Okay. So I'll see you guys next week. We will meet another hour next week. Let's talk about some of the sales things and how you talk to these clients, how you sell these clients, even how you talk to the IRS. Let's discuss some of our communication skills and things like that. And then we're going to move on. So God bless you all. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope to see a lot of you guys in our class on August 7th. If you are a previous student, don't forget that you guys have the $9.97 discount. So any previous students that feel like they actually need a refresher course, or they want to be a part of this new course that we have going on, and how we're restructuring it and stuff, if you want to just kind of be a part of it or get back into it again, that price is going to be the $9.97 for you guys. For the returning students. If you're not a returning student and you are new, it's going to be the $29.97. Okay, until July 18th. Okay, God bless you all, and I hope to see you all next Thursday.